They call it shopping, but for millions of Americans, it's starting to feel more like walking into a rigged casino. The price tag says one number, the scanner spits out another, and your final receipt somehow climbs into the hundreds before you even blink. Did you know surveys show that nearly 8 in 10 shoppers admit they've been overcharged at least once this year? Yet most never catch it until it's too late? Think about that. Billions of dollars quietly drained from wallets already stretched thin by inflation, medical bills, and skyrocketing rents. How many of those dollars were yours? How many were stolen without you ever realizing it? This is not an accident. Stores have perfected psychological tricks, from lighting designed to cloud your judgment, to phantom charges that slip onto your bill, to packaging and discounts engineered to confuse the eye. The result? Working families and retirees lose while corporations rake in record profits. This is the Downturn Report, where the truth gets personal. And today we expose 3 new scams showing exactly how stores are sneaking extra charges. Number 1. Hidden fees. For millions of working-class Americans, shopping has always been a careful balancing act, stretching every dollar, comparing prices, and making choices that decide whether the pantry stays full through the week. But now, stores are making that balance nearly impossible. Instead of offering relief, giant retailers are quietly sneaking in extra charges, small amounts that slip past the eye until you realize your wallet feels lighter than it should. What used to be a simple trip for bread and milk has turned into a psychological battlefield where corporations twist every screw to squeeze a few more pennies from people who already have nothing left to give. At chains like Walmart, shoppers have started to notice something eerie: the new 10,000 Kelvin lighting flooding the aisles. To the untrained ear, that might sound like just another technical detail, but scientists know this level of light pushes the human body into panic mode. It triggers the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for fear and fight-or-flight reactions. Imagine being bathed in harsh blue light that makes your heart race, clouds your thinking, and pressures you to grab items quickly just to get out of that oppressive space. Now think about who benefits. Faster decisions, irrational spending, carts filled with things you never planned to buy. It is not an accident. It is a strategy, and the receipts tell the rest of the story. Across small towns and big cities alike, people are reporting mysterious roundup charges, duplicate items rung up twice, or subtle price hikes that do not match the shelves. $1 here, $2 there. By the end of the month, that adds up to groceries missing from your table. For a retired worker living on Social Security, that could mean the difference between paying for medication or skipping a meal. Stores know that most customers are too tired to argue, too rushed to triple-check every line of a receipt, and too powerless to push back against a billion-dollar machine. So ask yourself, when a corporation changes the lighting to deliberately scramble your brain chemistry, is that still just shopping? Or is it something darker, a hidden tax on the poor dressed up as convenience? Seniors, veterans, single parents, entire communities are being manipulated under the glow of fluorescent deception. What was once just a store has turned into a trap, a place designed not to serve but to exploit. And the cruelest part? These tricks are legal, tucked into fine print and brushed off as mistakes, while families pay the price. Hidden fees are not just numbers on paper. They are food stolen from your kitchen table, moments stolen from your peace of mind, and one more reminder that in today's America, even your grocery list is under attack. Number 2. Price tricks. For decades, working Americans have accepted that groceries would inch upward, that meat and milk might climb a few cents year after year. But what is happening now inside the walls of giant retailers is not the natural flow of inflation. It is a calculated strategy designed to drain your wallet before you even realize what hit you. Shoppers across the country, from sprawling suburbs to tiny towns, are catching stores red-handed pulling off one of the oldest scams in the book. The price you see is not the price you pay. Imagine standing in the aisle studying a shirt priced at $4.98. You check the tag, you nod to yourself, and you toss it into your cart. But when it rings up at the register, suddenly it is $5.48. That is 50 extra cents stolen with a smile. Now, one shirt may not break your budget, but multiply that trick across a cart full of clothes, groceries, and household items. And suddenly you're paying $10, $20, even $50 more than you intended. For a retiree surviving on a monthly Social Security check, that is not a rounding error. That is a week of bread, eggs, or heart medication gone. And it is not just clothing. Walk down the grocery aisle and you will see the same bait and switch. A sticker says $6.98 for a pack of shirts, yet when you scan it, the system demands $7.98. A pair of pants tagged at $16.98 magically turns into $19.98 once you reach checkout. These are not isolated incidents. Videos are popping up everywhere. Angry shoppers holding up receipts, flipping cameras around to show the mismatch between the tag and the scanner. $1 here, $3 there, repeated across thousands of customers every single day. Think back a generation. Filling a cart with groceries might have cost $150. Painful, yes, but manageable. Today, a cart barely half full pushes past $200, $300, even $400. Shoppers leave in shock, wondering where the money went. The truth is buried in these price tricks, a shadow economy where corporations rake in millions by chiseling pennies off of every transaction. It is death by 1,000 cuts. Only the blade is corporate greed. What makes this scam particularly cruel is how it preys on the weakest link in the chain: human exhaustion. How many of us stare at receipts like hawks, line by line, after a long day of work? How many retirees with tired eyes notice a 50-cent discrepancy buried among 40 items? Stores know the answer. They gamble that you are too rushed, too distracted, or too worn down to fight back, and they win that gamble nearly every time. It does not end with tags and scanners. Weighted goods, meat, fruit, vegetables, are another battlefield. Shoppers have filmed produce marked at one weight but ringing up higher on the scale. Packs of chicken breasts mysteriously heavier at the register than they were in the cooler. Grapes that cost an extra $1 by the time you reach the counter. For families already forced to ration groceries, this feels less like shopping and more like theft in plain daylight. So here's the gut punch question. If stores are bold enough to trick you on the price of a t-shirt or a bag of apples, what else are they willing to do? This is not about one shirt or one pack of meat. It is about trust, and that trust has been shattered. A store used to be a place where you exchanged money for goods in good faith. Now it feels like walking into a rigged casino where the house always wins. For older Americans, the irony cuts especially deep. Many worked decades in factories, farms, or offices only to retire into an economy that treats them as easy prey. Instead of respect, they get rigged price tags. Instead of stability, they get receipts full of surprises. Instead of fair trade, they get nickel and dimed until their wallets echo hollow. And still, the corporations smile, insisting it is all just a mistake, a glitch, a misunderstanding. But you know better. You feel it every time you swipe your card and wonder why the bill keeps climbing. Price tricks are not an accident. They are the system. Number 3. Phantom fees. Walk into a big box store and a lot hits you at once. The glare of 10,000 Kelvin lights, the press of a hurried crowd, the thump of music just loud enough to fog your focus. In that haze, a sneaky line item can slide onto the receipt like a pickpocket's hand. Small, bland, and easy to miss. Shoppers call it the phantom fee, a mystery charge with a corporate-sounding label like store merch or miscellaneous, tucked between your bread and batteries as if it belongs there. And here's the punch in the gut. By the time you notice, your money is already gone. Picture this. A modest haul rings up to $196, which already feels brutal when the cart is barely half full. On the receipt, a line reads, "Store merchandise $47.88. No sweater, no tool set, no big-ticket gadget. Just a vague label that swallows nearly $50 in one bite. Someone bought 3 teas at $3.48 each. Simple math that should be a little over $10, not $47.88. When the cashier rescans and shrugs, the system corrects itself and the refund spills back. $51 with tax, like the house returning chips after being caught. If an error vanishes that easily, how many times does it slide through when no one challenges it? The phantom fee thrives on pressure. Under that harsh blue light, the body runs hotter, the pulse ticks faster, and patience wears thin. The store layout nudges you along. The self-checkout line tells you to hustle. The holiday rush whispers that everyone else is moving faster, so you should too. Add a fog of economic noise, tariffs, shipping costs, supply chain excuses, and suddenly the higher total feels normal. That is the genius of the scheme. Conceal overcharge beneath chaos and call it the cost of doing business. Corporate playbooks take advantage of habits that older Americans know too well. After decades on assembly lines, in fields, or behind counters, Folks are wired to get in, get out, and not cause trouble. Who wants to block a checkout lane to argue over a mystery code while a line of strangers sighs behind them? Who can read tiny print on a crumpled paper slip under cold blue lighting after 8 hours on sore feet? The phantom fee counts on exactly that fatigue. It is not a loud theft. It is a whisper that repeats across thousands of transactions until it becomes a chorus the company can hear, but hopes you do not. Then there's the language. Labels like store merch, assorted, or general look official, harmless, boring. The retail equivalent of a gray suit. But boring is a mask. Behind it hides an extra swipe, a duplicate scan, a pricing database that did not sync, or a glitch that seems to glitch in only one direction. When refunds happen, they are framed as goodwill. So sorry, here's your credit. Yet the burden is still on the shopper to spot the problem, ask for help, and stand their ground. All while the clock is ticking and the exit is calling. And what about the folks who never notice? That is where the quiet damage lives. For someone living on a pension or Social Security, $47.88 is not a footnote. It is a week of groceries, a copay, the gas to get to a doctor. Spread those phantom fees across a neighborhood, and you're looking at rent money siphoned from a zip code, one miscellaneous charge at a time. Multiply them across a region, and you get an invisible tax that punishes the careful, the honest, and the tired. The fix starts with habits that flip the script. Before leaving the register, scan the receipt for any vague lines, any totals that do not pass the kitchen table test. Cross-check with the number of items in the cart. Watch for duplicates. On self-checkout, hit pause when the screen flashes an add-on that you do not recognize. Ask a human to rescan if anything looks off. Photograph shelf tags when you can. If a price dispute surfaces, a picture can bulldoze a scripted excuse. But one question lingers, and it is the one that should jolt every shopper awake. If a system can quietly add $47.88 to a simple grocery run, what unseen toll has it already taken from you this year? Not in theory. On your actual balance, your actual table, your actual health. Phantom fees do not march in wearing a mask. They seep in wearing a name badge. They do not kick down the door. They walk through it with a barcode, and unless the lights are turned on, not the 10,000 Kelvin kind, but the clear light of attention, those fees will keep drifting from register to register, like fog rolling across a town that never asked for it. The bottom line is plain. A receipt is not a courtesy slip. It is a ledger of your labor. Every phantom fee is a hand reaching across that ledger to take what it did not earn. Look closely. Ask once. Ask twice. Make the system prove itself honest, because a system that is truly honest will never fear a second scan. Number 4. Shrinking packages. Walk down any grocery aisle today and you will notice something strange. The boxes look familiar, the bags look the same. The labels scream new and improved, but the weight printed in tiny numbers on the corner keeps shrinking. What once was a full pound of cereal is now 14 ounces. A half gallon of ice cream is now just 1.5 quarts. Candy bars, chips, coffee cans. Each generation looks nearly identical to the last, but they carry less inside. This scam has a name: shrinkflation. It is the art of charging the same price, or even a higher one, for a smaller amount of product. On the surface, shrinkflation is subtle. You still hand over the same $5 bill for a box of cookies, so your brain believes you got the same value, but when you get home, the cookies run out faster. The chips barely fill half the bag. The orange juice disappears from the fridge 2 days earlier than it used to. Multiply that experience week after week, and you are being forced to spend more often for less food without realizing it. It is theft disguised as packaging. Retailers and manufacturers defend this trick by pointing to rising costs of ingredients, transportation, or tariffs. But instead of being honest, raising prices openly and letting shoppers decide, they hide the increase by shaving ounces, slicing serving sizes, or bulking up packaging to look the same on the outside. They count on customers not checking the fine print. Most shoppers are juggling kids, bills, and time. They are not carrying calculators into the grocery store. For retirees, this scam is especially cruel. Many older Americans live on fixed incomes, carefully budgeting how long a loaf of bread or a jar of peanut butter must last. When packages shrink, the math collapses. What used to stretch 2 weeks now stretches 1, forcing more trips to the store and draining budgets faster. and the insult comes wrapped in false promises. Brands slap value size or family pack across a box that is literally smaller than last year's. That is not value. That is deception with a smile. Shrinkflation also erodes trust. A bag of sugar used to mean 5 pounds. That was the standard for generations. Now some bags quietly drop to 4 pounds while keeping the same bright design. Imagine the confusion for an older shopper used to recipes built around those amounts. The trust that a pound is a pound or a gallon is a gallon is being chipped away, replaced with a guessing game where the house always wins. And do not be fooled into thinking this is just about snacks or luxuries. Essential goods, pasta, cooking oil, toilet paper, have all been shrunk. Rolls that once held 400 sheets now barely reach 300. Cans of tuna that were 6 ounces are now 5, yet the shelf tag remains the same price, or worse, climbs higher. Shoppers are punished both ways, less in the package, more at the register. The scam works because it hides in plain sight. Unlike a sudden jump in price, shrinkflation is hard to protest. You cannot point to a cashier and say the scan is wrong. The label technically tells the truth, just in fonts so small it might as well be invisible. And when millions of shoppers shrug and accept it, companies see no reason to stop. So the next time you pick up a familiar product, look closely. Read the ounces, not just the slogans. Compare to last year's package if you can. Ask yourself why the family-size cereal box suddenly feels lighter in your hand. Shrinking packages are not a harmless industry adjustment. They are a deliberate scam targeting the distracted, the tired, and the trusting. And as long as corporations keep getting away with it, our carts will keep shrinking while our bills keep growing. Number 5. Loyalty traps. At first glance, loyalty programs sound like a blessing. You swipe a little card, punch in your phone number, and, supposedly, you save money. The signs hanging from the shelves scream, member price, exclusive savings, and special discount. But scratch beneath the shiny surface, and you'll find one of the most deceptive scams in modern retail: loyalty traps. These programs are not built to reward you. They are engineered to herd you, track you, and in many cases, trick you into paying more than you would without them. Here's how it works. A gallon of milk on the shelf might read $4.99. Next to it, a bright tag shouts, "With card, $3.99. It looks like you're saving $1, but in truth, that $3.99 is just the fair price milk should have been in the first place. The discount is nothing more than a psychological illusion. The base price is inflated to make the member deal look generous. It's like being handed $1 and told you're lucky, when the cashier just took $2 from your back pocket. The loyalty trap doesn't stop there. Once you're conditioned to swipe, the store begins to build a profile. What you buy, when you shop, how much you spend. That data is gold. It's sold to marketers, used to raise prices on essentials, and weaponized to nudge you toward products with the fattest profit margins. Suddenly, the coupons you get in the mail are not really gifts. They're bait designed to lead you down aisles full of overpriced goods. For older Americans, this scam cuts especially deep. Many retirees pride themselves on clipping coupons, stacking discounts, and stretching dollars with old-fashioned thrift. But the new coupon economy is a labyrinth. Offers are digital only, hidden behind apps that demand smartphones and passwords. Discounts expire within hours. Some are loaded but never actually apply at checkout unless you tap through screens. A retiree used to sliding paper coupons across the counter now faces a system built to confuse, frustrate, and fail. And every failure means one more unclaimed discount, one more dollar left behind. Worse, loyalty schemes often punish those who don't join. A shopper who refuses to sign up sees nothing but inflated prices on every tag. Bread, meat, canned vegetables, all higher than they should be, unless you surrender your phone number and let the system track you. This two-tiered pricing structure creates a false choice: pay more or sacrifice privacy. For families already living paycheck to paycheck, it's not a choice at all. It's coercion. And let's not forget the memberships that charge you up front. Pay $99 a year to save hundreds, the banners promise. But the fine print tells another story. Unless you shop constantly, the math rarely works in your favor. Worse, many memberships auto-renew quietly, draining your bank account months after you forgot about them. That $99 could have been a utility bill or a doctor's visit, but instead it vanishes into the black hole of loyalty. The trap works because it dresses itself up as generosity. Shoppers believe they're winning, when in truth, the store is tightening the leash. Real loyalty should come from fair prices, honest labels, and consistent value. Instead, what we get is an elaborate theater of false discounts, confusing coupons, and memberships that siphon money like leeches. The next time you see a shelf tag flashing a bold member deal, stop and ask, what's the real price here? Who benefits more? You or the billion-dollar corporation that now knows exactly when you buy cereal, how often you splurge on cookies, and what brand of medication sits on your nightstand? Loyalty traps are not loyalty at all. They are surveillance, manipulation, and financial pickpocketing dressed in the costume of a bargain. Number 6. Fake sales. Everywhere you look in a store, you're bombarded with bright red signs. Sale. Limited time only. Buy one, get one. It feels like a carnival of bargains, like you're walking into a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But beneath the flashy banners lies one of the oldest scams in retail: fake sales. Stores have perfected the art of creating the illusion of savings when, in reality, many of those deals are nothing but smoke and mirrors. Here's how it works. A retailer takes an everyday item, a toaster, a pair of shoes, a can of coffee, and quietly raises the price for a few weeks. Then when they're ready to launch their big sale, they slap on a tag claiming 20% off or marked down from $29.99. But here's the kicker, that sale price is often the same as, or even higher than, the regular price before the so-called discount. You think you're saving $5, but in truth you're paying what you would have paid anyway, or worse, a little more. Psychologists call this anchoring. The inflated original price makes the discount feel like a steal even when it's not. The bright signage, the countdown timers, the bold fonts, all of it is designed to create urgency. You feel pressured to grab the item now before the deal disappears. Stores know most customers won't research past prices or keep detailed records. Instead, you trust the store's word, and that trust is exactly what they exploit. For working-class families and retirees, fake sales are devastating. Older Americans often plan shopping trips around advertised bargains, clipping flyers or circling newspaper inserts that promise half-off essentials. But when they arrive at the store, the truth is harsher. They're not really saving, just being manipulated into spending. Imagine driving across town for a 2-for-1 on detergent, only to realize the bottles are smaller than last year's, or that the half-off price is what you paid regularly a few months ago. That's not a discount, it's deception dressed in neon. Another trick in the fake sale arsenal is the buy one, get one. On the surface, it sounds like double value, but look closer. The single item price is often inflated so high that you're essentially paying full price for both. Or worse, you're encouraged to buy more than you need. Maybe you wanted one bottle of vitamins, but the sale pushes you to take home 2. Now your budget is stretched, your pantry is cluttered, and the store has moved more product off the shelf. That's not savings, it's engineered overspending. Then there's the seasonal sale game. How many times have you seen Black Friday deals or holiday clearance with crowds rushing for bargains? Yet multiple studies have shown that many doorbuster items are either cheap knockoffs made specifically for the sale, or products that were sold at the same price or lower earlier in the year. In other words, you're not beating the system is beating you. What makes fake sales particularly cruel is how they prey on hope. Shoppers walk in believing they're finally catching a break, finally outsmarting the high cost of living. For retirees on fixed incomes, a big sale feels like a lifeline. But when the deal is nothing but marketing theater, that hope turns into betrayal. You thought you saved enough for an extra meal, but in reality, the money slipped right through your fingers. So how do you fight back? First, understand that red signs and bold fonts are not your friends. Before buying, compare unit prices. Cents per ounce, cost per pound. Look at historical prices if you can, using apps or old receipts. If a sale seems too good to be true, pause. Ask yourself, is this truly a discount, or is it just a story the store wants me to believe? The truth is simple but harsh. Fake sales are not about giving you value. They're about creating a psychological high, pushing you to spend faster and deeper. Stores dress it up as generosity, but at its core, it is manipulation. And until shoppers start questioning every deal, the neon signs will keep flashing, the banners will keep hanging, and the receipts will keep draining wallets across America. Every hidden charge is a warning shot. Stay awake, stay aware, stay united. Subscribe now, protect your wallet and voice.
Thank you for watching today's video all the way through. If you found the content helpful, don't forget to click like and subscribe to stay updated to our latest daily videos. Now feel free to check out other feature videos currently shown on your screen. Goodbye, and see you in the next video.